screaming over the jump for the first time. It looks like a clean start so far. De Jong to the Joker. Zelensky continues.
This VRS Coanda 1-2 as they headed to the shortcut, but they each do something different. Mitchell de Jong, he will lead the train of cars. There's currently only 2 cars strong that is taken to the shortcut of Mitchell de Jong. Is actually, we got Sami-Matti Trojan. He's turned around. That could be very important for your championship leader. He'll surely probably come home 8th or 9th at best.
Yep, critical. He has to complete the first lap here. So we look at the replay there. He just collides with one of the V-dubs. But if he completes the first lap, he'll score enough of those points here for the feature race, because we've seen in the past that drivers aren't able to do it and they DNF, but critically he crosses the line and it's all good. Now Joker for Zelensky, and he'll rejoin right behind his teammate. How fitting would it be for 2 VRS Coanda SimSport drivers to finish 1-2?
Yeah, that would be, they've yet to really have a performance like that in this championship. We saw a couple of Coanda drivers last year as we keep an eye on this 3-car scrap between, see all 3 marquees represented, a Subaru, a Ford, and a Volkswagen. See Bobby Sant Jr. at the head of that train right now, Garrett Lowe, Garrett Maines behind. As they working over the jump here in the infield sector. But Coanda's not had that sort of success in this championship, Johnny, outside of Mitchell de Jong coming into this year. Bobby's shown some pace, but has had some consistency issues, and luck's not really been on his side. But even last year, the other Coanda drivers beyond Mitchell, they just weren't very consistent and honestly weren't very good.
And of course, we know the Joker here is about 11 to 13 seconds. Track conditions, look how worn that track is getting here in the feature. So plenty of grip available for the Joker as we ride on board here with the Set Esports driver. The Joker's there to the right-hand side, and that skips most of this infield section here. Now, Joni Heikkinen, of course, we'll remember him squabbling away with de Jong through this sector of the racetrack. That cost him a potential victory last season, but now through this tight left hairpin, and of course the 14 degrees of banking available at Iowa. So who do you see so far in good contention for the win, Randy? I think Taskinen's closest here in third for the Positive Sim Racing.
Possibly, but I mean, between de Jong and Zelensky, I think it's going to be a big ask. Right now we look at Sami-Matti Trojan, who is well and truly down the running order right now. He cycled up into 7th. Looked like we may have had some drama between Lyons and the other. Actually, no, I take that back. Sammy's taken to the shortcut, but no one's in the shortcut window right now. Nathan Lyons 14 seconds off the race lead, Johnny, and we've seen this Joker all day. It's sort of sat at the, it's sat at the lower end of the spectrum of about 11-second shortcut all day long. Nathan's got to somehow, some way reel in 3 seconds before we Jokers have any hope of keeping up with any of the top 2. I think it's looking like a Mitchell de Jong victory at the moment, as we're going to have 4 to go.
He's always been strong at Iowa, has de Jong, and teammate Zelensky there. We ride on board with him through this tough infield section here and floors the throttle to the final corner, and then the jump is ever so thrilling here. Let's have a listen to him. Now the trick is in Rallycross there through the jump, Randy, is that if you just dab the brake, and it works in the real world too, you can dip that front nose down and it gets that car planted to the tarmac quicker, which means you're going to go faster in terms of lap time.
Yep, it's all centrifugal force there when you're in the air. You tap the brakes, it gets the wheel slowing down, and that centrifugal force will dip the nose forward. You blip the throttle as well, and that'll bring the car backwards. You can do it in the Rallycross cars. You don't really get big air in the Rallycross cars. See, actually, in the background, Nathan Lyon, he was the only one that was in the window. He takes the shortcut, and he's going to be side by side with Otto Taskinen as they drop off the banking, but won't be able to hold on to it. So move Nathan Lyon back in towards P4, which is where I think he will settle. But you can really do that actually in the off-road trucks we have, Johnny. Those have a much longer suspension travel. The circuits they run on, you can get a lot more air, and you can really play with those things as they fly through the air, which is a ton of fun, similar to the sort of racing Mitchell de Jong actually comes from before we got into Rallycross. But we're coming up on 2 laps to go, and looks like just Coanda domination.
Yeah, we had all the drama in the heats and the consolation races. If you're watching this feature race, definitely check out the other races beforehand. It was probably the most drama we've had, I reckon, in 2019 for an event, and it's all just sort of stagnated here for the feature. Then we got 2 laps to go here. De Jong looks like he's sailing towards his 3rd feature race victory for the season, and Randy, he just became our first multiple feature race winner last round, and he's done it again here. Do you think this guy can be stopped?
No, and I still think he's in it for the championship, to be honest. I think Mitchell's just too consistent. You see these guys, Nathan Lyon involved with that. That's Otto Taskin and Nathan Lyon. They come, push comes to shove there. Otto up the inside, and Nathan's going to give him the space there wisely. Didn't really see what happened there. Not sure if that's Nathan being over-aggressive or maybe Otto being a bit silly and trying to shut the door on the driver, trying to slide up the inside. But Nathan finds himself a podium position here, and see the American drivers wants to round out the podium as Mitchell gets ready to hit the last couple of corners here at Iowa.
Brilliant race from Mitchell de Jong as we see Lyon just bully his way past the fin there of Taskinen. Nathan Lyon with his best result of the season. But for Mitchell de Jong, he's going to win 3 feature race wins for 2019, and he takes victory at Iowa yet again here. The VRS Coanda SimSport team celebrate with a 1-2 finish, their first in Rallycross on iRacing. What a thrilling result with Zelensky coming home in second. Now Lyon on the podium there. Not a career best result, but a career tying result there for Nathan Lyon in third.
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Mitchell.
Three rounds to go, 7 realistic championship contenders. Now, some will need luck on their side, but Rallycross in 2019 has just been that unpredictable. Welcome to Sonoma Raceway, located in beautiful California in the United States of America. It's the second time we visit Sonoma this season, and it hosts the 7th round of the 2019 Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship, with all coverage on RaceBot TV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network around this 1.5 kilometer, 0.9 mile layout of Sonoma. There it is on screen. It's a clockwise layout, of course. Now, the lap here travels through the carousel of Sonoma in reverse, and it's all covered in dirt. You'll notice that, of course, some beautiful corners here, long and sweeping. The drivers then rejoin the rest of the racetrack the right way round, and it's through a very tight tarmac section to end the lap. The jump located after the final of 6 technical corners here at Sonoma, and it's almost parallel to the Joker, with lap times registered around that 38-second range. The Joker delta time's only about 2 seconds, so look out for that. That will be ever so important, but of course the drivers cannot take it on their first lap here at Sonoma. Good afternoon, everybody. Jonathan Simon on hand in the commentary booth. Randolph Cheneth alongside me, and of course our special guest this week is Jussi Pennanen from Set Promotion. But Randy, first off, here we are back to Rallycross, and you know what? I talked about this earlier on with you, but the championship right now for Sami Trogan for Set Esports, if he has one DNF for his name, he could easily, I mean, we're looking at 7 drivers there who could win this championship.
Yeah, I think it's excuse me, I think it's a little closer to 4, maybe 5. In actuality, but you're right. One mistake in all those drivers, Josh Fox, Mitchell de Jong, Johan Hart, Joni Heikkinen, they're all back in it. Otto Taskin is not far down the order either, as well as Bobby Zielinski. But yeah, one mistake from Mr. Sami Trogan, and this big lead can get evaporated. We saw that nearly happen last week.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it could be any time now, of course, for Sami Trogan, but for one man, he'll be wishing that Sami has a clear, easy and seamless path to a championship, and that's Jussi Pennanen from Set Esports himself. Jussi, welcome to the virtual world again. You are, of course, team owner at Set Esports and team manager for not only Nicholas Gronholm, Timo Timozianov, but you've had a successful season as a whole in 2019, and a championship in esports will make it ever so sweeter.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's been a good year for us. A lot of different programs, but it's all coming to an end now. It's only our Set Esports guys continuing their season, and hopefully they can pull it together well.
And again, like we said, you had a successful season. Sami Mädi even had, a couple of podiums to end the season in the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Gronholm ended up winning the final round. So, I mean, I to be honest with you, I think if Sami Mädi Trogan wins the Esports Championship, it could make your 2019 a little bit more sweeter.
Yeah, it was actually quite exciting last weekend. We were in South Africa, and Sami Mädi was driving in RX2 in the real world, and then Saturday evening driving the sim race. So that was really exciting to look from the side.
And you guys supported him by actually building him a sim for the weekend. How did everybody manage that? Just managing to build a sim internationally for him, and then he raced pretty well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was quite funny. We started working for it a couple of weeks in advance, but like often, everything doesn't go like you dream, and we ended up, Sami Mädi carrying the steering wheel and pedals and the screens with him in his luggage to down to South Africa, and then we one of the local guys borrowed us just a simple homemade rig, and then the boys from Gronholm RX and Set Promotion, all the technicians spent some hours and built the temporary sim for him. So that was kind of funny story, but after all, he managed to do the race and was happy.
Did you manage to jump into the sim yourself, get some practice in? I'm not sure how big of a sim racer you are yourself.
No, I haven't done much. But actually, I did after the Saturday evening's race. Sami Mädi told me that, okay, now it's your turn, and I did some laps on this Sonoma track. So that was nice experience, and it was really nice to see how real, close to the real world it actually is.
And you've made the jump into esports this season with the brand of Set Esports. What inspired you to establish the team? You've got 3 strong Finnish drivers, but 2 of them obviously rookies to the campaign. One of them raced with a different team for last year. So it's great to see a strong team come into the championship. So what influenced you to come in for 2019?
Yeah, it was actually end of season last year. We had a sort of shootout or test drive for our RX Academy, and Joni Heikkinen came to try the RX Academy car, and it was first time in a real race car, and the way he drove the car, the way he handled it, just amazed every one of us in the RX Academy. And basically I saw that, okay, this is something really unique, and I need to take a closer look into it and what it is. And Sami Mädi has been driving quite a lot, and then we decided that, okay, let's put it together, Joni and Sami Mädi, and then Tommy joined a bit later, and there we were. And it's been a nice journey, and hopefully this is only a beginning of something much bigger.
And when you talk about that, what is much bigger for the future? Where do you envision this team in 2020 and beyond?
We take it step by step. Of course, we want to be more professional and do things much more professionally. Now it's been the boys been working great together, 3 of them, and supporting and helping each other. But yeah, we, like I said, we take it step by step, and hopefully next year we can do things much more professionally, and also be more competitive. Hopefully have more drivers joining in the future for the Set Esports. But I think we also like to keep the the drivers drive both. They drive sim racing, but they also race in the real world, and those 2 support each other greatly.
And what's unique about Set Esports as well is that all three of your drivers, like you said, they all run in the real world. So for them, this is like an extra training tool. And we've seen Max Verstappen in sim racing, and you know, his racing has gotten better over the years. Whether that sim racing has helped or not, we don't know. But certainly for these guys, just getting accustomed to rallycross on the sim, it could really help them in the real world.
I fully agree on that. It's the driving is one thing, but it's also, you know, the mental things. You really need to be focused, and the small details make a big difference, and that's something that you can really practice in sim racing as well.
And finally, we've got to let you go, but obviously thanks for coming on. But do you think Sami Mädi will fare well today? He's currently second in qualifying, which is pretty good, but let's see if his teammates can be close to him.
Yeah, he told me that he really likes the Sonoma track, and he was really comfortable. Was happy that making it into the final last weekend, but really wasn't happy with the result. But at the same time said that the next track will suit me well, and I'm confident that I can do better there. So let's see. Let's hope the best.
Well, that's Jussi Pennanen, Set Esports team owner, and we'll leave you to it, Jussi. Thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it, and best of luck to Sami Mädi Trogan and the rest of the Set Esports crew. But Randy, qualifying is over. We're about to begin the first heat, and I spoke about hat tricks during the week. A driver who takes pole, heat win, and the feature win. And we've never had a round at Sonoma. This is the fourth time we come here in the championship. We've never had a round at Sonoma without a hat trick. So Johan Harth is in prime position.
Yeah, he is. He'll be starting on pole here, and you'll see the grid tick down at the bottom of your screen. And like you just said, he's going to be in prime position here, but it's a stacked Heat 1 with Heikkinen and Fox all in the front row.
And we're going to be ready to go in just a few moments' time. Heikkinen has won a feature race this season, surprisingly. Neither has Josh Fox. Now, we're expecting John Robertson, the rookie, to also fare well, but let's see how he goes in that Apex Racing Team Subaru Winter Experience car. Oh, round 7. The championship's wrapped up ever so quickly, hasn't it here? The engines rev and the lights illuminate for the first time. It's an ever-tight run into turn number 1 here at Sonoma. We go green for round 7. And 3x3, who's going to end out in the lead? Oh, it looks like Robertson behind's turned around. One driver into the barrier, and Carnage already at the start. Carnage already, but it's Heikkinen who leads heading into the final corner.
Yeah, huge trouble there on the opener, and the only car, I don't know if we have many cars that get away clean. They're still going around. Marcos Mataromos, and who is that he got into it with? I'm not exactly sure, but still people getting into it with one another.
Man, I don't know what to say. That's a very clumsy start to the round. It all begun with, I think, one driver into the wall. So Fox was into the wall on the outside, wasn't he, Randy? And then Robertson as well was tagged behind.
It wasn't just that, it was just going into turn 1 up the inside. Johan Hart and Joni Heikkinen make contact, and they forced themselves out into Josh Fox, who was trying to make it work the long way around. So it started at the head of your field. There was sort of a secondary stack up in the mid-pack as well, but I think that was partially caused by the stack up in front. But yeah, that basically results in our entirety of this Heat 1 grid getting totally stretched out. There is still a fight between 3rd and 4th, Logan Clampett and John Robertson, as they're actually side by side up the carousel as they scream through the middle part of the lap. But the top 2 transfer spots currently held by Heikkinen and Connor Parisi.
Yep, that Jimbo for esports car heading through to the feature, possibly in his current position. Oh, this is John Robertson on board. And that's Robertson past Logan Clampett. A brilliant move by him. Now, the Subaru, Randy, is generally going to be the quickest here on a fresh track. So the Subaru is obviously going to be quicker than that V-dub of Logan Clampett, but that Beetle can be very quick if Clampett can bring it home to the feature.
Yeah, we definitely know that. Problem for him is getting into a transfer spot at the moment. He's got Nathan Lyon sitting behind him in 3rd. A lot of actual Volkswagens in this field, matter of fact, but it's a couple of Subarus that are at the head of the field between Heikkinen and Parisi, about 3.5 seconds clear of this little duo that's starting to stretch itself out. Robertson's gotten into 3rd, and he's really made short work of the likes of Clampett, Lyon, and Josh Fox behind. Open up an enormous gap as we're coming to 2 to go.
Yeah, and this is Heikkinen through the final. Sorry, we're riding on board with Nathan Lyon, I should say, actually. Nathan Lyon, as we see Clampett take to the Joker for the first and only time in this 5-lap heat. And he'll slot himself ahead of Robertson, who opted not to take the Joker. And that's going to kill Robertson's chances here. He disposes of Clampett, who just made a mockery of turn 1 at Sonoma. So I was about to say, Robertson didn't need the traffic, and now he doesn't have it anymore anyway.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate there. Logan just got the entry into the carousel all wrong, did that all by himself. He's able to sort of recycle back out onto the racetrack, and he's funneled in between Nathan Lyon and Josh Fox. So we could have actually a relatively fun little scrap here near the end of this race between some of the American drivers in this championship as they work onto the front straightaway. Josh Fox is going to take the Joker here to start the to start the final lap. So he'll jump both of those drivers easily, but out in front, it's still Heikkinen and Parisi who are more than comfortably in the transfer spots at the moment.
Yep, Fox second in the championship. Heikkinen currently 5th in the championship. They're all in contention. If anything goes wrong for Sami Mädi-Trogen, it opens up the championship for 7 different drivers. Here is Joni Heikkinen, though, through the final couple of corners. He's going to win a heat. And he's going to have prime position for that feature, Randy, for the first time in quite a while. And we haven't seen him win a feature race all year, but he's going to be joined by Connor Parisi from Jim Beaver Esports in that feature. Here's Robertson with Joker on the final lap. Robertson actually ended up...
What happened to Parisi?
In third. Yeah, Parisi lost a lot of time. That's surprising.
Did he make a mistake? Because the Joker Delta isn't that long here at Sonoma, so I think Connor had sort of mistake on that final lap. Yeah, well, he was nearly 4 seconds ahead, and John Robertson able to just get by. So Connor Parisi, something happened to the Jimmy Beaver Esports driver. He will not transfer to the main event after whatever happened to him. But I will say one thing, Johnny. You mentioned hat tricks, drivers fastest in quali, winning a heat, and winning the feature. You said it's never happened here before. It's always happened here before. It's not happening today.
No way. That was proper Murray Walker, that, by the way, from both of us. Well, you knew. I didn't know. That's a very surprising finish. I had no clue Robertson was going to come home in second. It's only a 2-second Joker here, but nevertheless, it's time to focus on heat number 2. And Sami Mädi-Trogen, our championship leader, is contained in this heat. Chepelevsky will start in the middle. And Trogan's teammate of Tommy Hallman will start on the outside row. They'll be joined by Zelensky behind, a championship contender. Adams rounds out the 8-car field. We're going to go green in a couple of seconds' time. They're going to scream into the first corner with Chepelevsky having the worst getaway of all. And, I'm not sure what happened there, but it looked like Hallman and Chepelevsky collided for sure. Now, you can't take to the Joker here on this opening lap, but nevertheless, we know Sami Mädi-Trogen will lead so far.
Yeah, that rear bumper of Tommy Hallman at the moment starting to look like a punching bag with Stilian Chepelevsky getting into the back of him, and there's a white Volkswagen that got into him as well. I believe it may have been Kevin Carlisle. No, let's take that back. It wasn't Kevin Carlisle, but 3 wide up the carousel between 3 Subarus. They scream through. Tommy Hallman's one of them. I think Bobby Sant Jr. was the second of the 3. Didn't catch who the third car was, but this mid-pack is spicing up here in heat race number 2.
Oh, and collisions behind. We saw off camera. Here's Chepelevsky that we ride on board with. And is he going to opt for the Joker this lap round? He is. And there is the Bulgarian taking through to the Joker and skipping all the traffic. Now he's in. That's Zelensky up ahead of him. And Hallman and Sant Jr. did not take to the Joker. Very critical there. Now, did Sami Mädi... Yeah, he did. Sami Mädi-Trogen took to the Joker, Randy. So we'll keep an eye on that at the top of the screen with the green tick. Hallman is our lead driver who hasn't opted for the shortcut.
Yeah, and the driver's in front of him. He's trying to do his best to chase them down here after them opting to take that shortcut as they work through at the top end of the circuit near where you see these guys start and into really what is a turn 1 from the start of the race. But after the start-finish line, turn 1, of course, being going up the carousel. Hallman's going to take to the Joker. I don't like this. I think he needed to spend about another lap in the traffic there, Johnny, trying to reel them in before taking that shortcut. I think that's a bad play by Hallman, but he funnels in behind Bobby.
Well, you're right. It's not a bad play, though, if you can pull off an overtake at Zelensky. And we know, Randy, that if you're going to choose a track to overtake on at Rallycross, Sonoma is it.
Yes, it is definitely the raciest of the tracks we have just with the format. You sort of have the longest straights, the hardest braking zones, and you know, especially going up the carousel, I think is one of the prime passing opportunities. But I just don't like the logic. I'd rather make the pass with the Joker than take the Joker and just then have to make the pass on the racetrack anyways. And I think from what we typically see week in and week out, Tommy's usually quicker than Bobby.
Wait and see here in these remaining couple of laps. Holman will drift that Subaru through the first couple of corners. This is perfect for Trogan, though. He needs this for the championship lead. We've always been skeptical of Sammy Matty Trogan, Randy. Not that he can't win feature races, but the fact that, because he has before, but sometimes he can be involved in some incidents, and he just manages to find some luck on his side as we begin the final lap here. Again today, he looks pretty smooth here through these first 5 laps, so I guess you can say he's proving us wrong.
I mean, he's looking smooth at the moment, but I don't think that necessarily disproves anything that we have. He is definitely a driver that's not afraid to use the bumpers and use the fenders. We've seen that all season long, and we've seen it start come back to bite him through the second and middle half of this championship. So up the hill, though, for Sammy Matty Trogan for the final time. Couple drivers in the mid-pack still, I believe, owe us Jokers, but actually something happened to Bobby Sant Jr. He was the one I was looking at, so that's going to end up not cycling through, but Sammy Matty Trogan will win heat race number 2.
So Sant Jr. officially is a DNF, and Sammy Matty Trogan is officially a heat race winner at Sonoma. He wins, and he heads straight through to that feature race. Zelensky will join him. Critical for the championship with a VRS Coanda SimSport driver. The rest of the field behind will head straight through to the Consolation events. Now, of course, Randy, at Sonoma, the slowdowns through that carousel, we haven't seen it impact the race yet. But it can be ever troubling if the drivers decide to cut those cones a little bit too much. iRacing's clamped down on that for 2019.
Yeah, they definitely have. We saw it last time we came to this racetrack, so it's definitely going to be effect. But this third heat race is going to be really interesting. Mitchell DeYoung, currently the championship rival to Sammy Matty Trogan, I think some would argue, starting in the middle. And we've seen the last couple heats back-to-back. That car starting in the middle of the front row has gotten into drama. Can Mitchell somehow find a way to keep it clean?
Yeah, it looks like Taskinen now. I don't want to pull a commentary curse, but Taskinen on the inside here has the best line for sure. But it's DeYoung and Garrett Lowe that will need to be careful. Lights illuminate. We go green for the final heat of the day. And it's a dead heat to the first corner here between Taskinen and DeYoung. No contact between those three. Lowe forms behind in third. Lowe's actually going to be passed by Adria Perez here. Into the final corner. There's a bit of contact through the jump. And chaos looms. That looks like Phil Diaz will make his way through cleanly into third.
Yeah, not exactly sure what happened. I saw Adria Perez make a big dive, but I think the drama started after, and yeah, Adria Perez just collecting Garrett Lowe on the exit of that corner and kind of turned him across the field as they went up the face of the jump, but after that, he was pretty much clean. Mitchell DeYoung making a little bit of a mistake here through the middle sector of the lap. That's going to allow behind Phil Diaz to be right up his tailpipe, so Coanda on Inex, not a fight that we've seen really in a long time, but Diaz is going to go to the Joker, as does Taskinen. Mitchell DeYoung with the interesting decision to take the long way route the first time.
And let's see if he has any traffic here, Mitchell DeYoung. He looks okay for the moment. Ahead of him is Phil Diaz in the second position. So Diaz, who just took to the Joker, won't impede DeYoung too much. And you know what? I think Randy DeYoung couldn't opt for the Joker because the difficulty at Sonoma, like we know, is when you have Diaz sniffing up the rear end of DeYoung there, if he brakes, he's going to get T-boned or even just basically hit from behind by the Inex racing car. So DeYoung pretty much had no choice.
Yeah, it is definitely a bit of can be a confusing Joker lap, and he's not going to go for it. Seems like he's going to keep it in his back pocket. I like this decision by Mitchell and try to just reel in the time on Phil as much as he can before he takes that shortcut. But they're about to scream their way up the hill here once again. Otto Taskinen open up in a great margin at the moment, 1.7 seconds ahead of Phil and another 1.3 seconds ahead of Mitchell. And right now, Otto's the quickest car on the racetrack. He's out driving everybody. The only car that's currently in the 39-second bracket. Everyone else is doing 40s.
Remember, Otto Taskinen was a feature race winner, of course, in 2019 for round 4. That was a brilliant win from Lucas Oil, and he'll be hoping to do the same here from Sonoma. He's qualified really well today. Third, of course, in qualifying standings. We're looking for De Jong, who takes to the Joker, and De Jong ends up in second, slots himself between Taskinen and Diaz, but critically, Randy, De Jong has never won from Sonoma, and again today, he's not going to be in the best of positions for the feature race.
We'll have to wait and see. Right now, he's trying to reel in Taskinen and somehow get the outside of that front row. But look at Phil Diaz. Phil had a great lap last time by. He had the quickest lap of your top three at a 39.4. Mitchell, of course, was technically quicker, but that involved the shortcut. So white flag this time as they go up and over the jump. And Phil has put himself in a great position here. And Mitchell's trying to hound down Taskinen. If anyone is close to making a pass, there could be drama here in your top three.
So Diaz needs to make this move in the next few corners. Is he going to barge his way past the 2018 champion for Rallycross and iRacing? Makes a mockery of the exit here through the carousel at Sonoma. And he's awfully close to picking a slowdown. I tell you what, he's driving the wheels off that Subaru. The NX Racing Subaru hits the wall though, and that's going to confirm Diaz straight through to the Consolation races. But he gave it his all, Randy. But at the end of the day, it's Taskinen and De Jong through.
Yeah, he definitely gave it his all there did Diaz. We got another car actually taken to the Joker as well. Adria Perez lost track of him. He's only about a second off the back of Mitchell. So if Adria would have maybe stayed out of all that drama that we saw at the start, he may have been able to take second spot away from Mr. Mitchell de Jong. But you're right, Phil Diaz, he was definitely driving the wheels off that NX Subaru, and he ended up knocking that right front out of it when he hit the wall there in the final couple of corners. So unfortunate there for Phil, and well, it's time to go LCQ racing, and LCQ number 1 is stacked with big names as we're becoming accustomed.
Yeah, of course, Parisi will be in this C main, of course. Now Parisi, we were expecting to head into the feature, lost that spot in the final moments. So let's see how his pace fares in this Consolation race. Perez will join. Well, Perez will race straight away again here in this C main. Chepelewski will start on the outside row. Now, the run into turn 1, like we know at Sonoma, is ever so difficult. But we got a clean start in Heat 3. Let's see how these drivers fare in a few moments' time. Johan Hart, this is critical for him starting on the back row. He's one of our championship challengers. He's one of the most improved heading into 2019, but he's got a lot of traffic ahead. Lights illuminate for the first Consolation race, and we go green from Sonoma yet again. Hearth looking for the inside behind. He's trying to find a way through, but your leader so far, Parisi, disposes of Perez, and there's contact between Garrett Lowe and Chepelewski. How did Perez almost end up on his roof? Ridiculous. Perez is on his roof there. You just saw it out of shot. Oh, goodness gracious.
Stilian Chepelewski is tumbling down the straightaway as well, and Nathan Lyon is at the starting gantry, the timing gantry rather. So your top two as they run on the racetrack, I believe, should be Connor Parisi and Garrett Lowe. Third place is going to cycle into Johan Hart, who started 7th on this grid. I was going to mention this, Johnny. We talked about how important it is to qualify well in this series. Johan Hart comes in, took quick time in qualifying, and found himself starting 7th in this last chance qualifier. And after the field pretty much disintegrates in front of him, he cycles into P3, and he has a very real chance, I think, of chasing one of these two down and getting one of these transfer spots.
And if he doesn't do it, Randy, you could probably write off his championship chances, right?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, anything's possible with the races dwindling down and only 2 rounds left after this. I think if you're in the championship hunt and if you miss a feature at this point, oh, we got a car around. That's gonna cycle Johan into a transfer spot. What did Connor manage to do there? That's 2 times today, Johnny. He's been in a transfer position. Yeah, that's 2 times today he's been in a transfer spot and thrown it away.
Oh, man, here's the replay. Let's have a look what happened to Parisi. Surely an unforced error. This is the Jim Beaver Esports driver.
It's a tire baller, isn't it?
Oh, don't tell me. It is. Oh, you hit it, Randy. You're right there. You're seriously right. And, oh, man, I mean, 1 second away from perfect grid position for the feature, and then now he's a DNF here in this Consolation race.
Yeah, we saw him in the first heat race as well. So, I mean, yeah, that's really unfortunate there for Connor Parise to have his luck wind down like that. But after, with Connor getting cycled out there, Johnny, that pretty much takes all the drama out of this LCQ. Garrett Lowe and Johan Hart, they're separated by a couple of seconds. Then you have to drop 8 seconds to find Bobby St. Jr. You think there's any way that Bobby can find 8 seconds in the Joker Delta to get up to Johan?
No, I was going to say it now. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Still watch the race, but it's not going to happen. Unless Lowe or Hearth make any errors, we'll pretty much see Garrett Lowe and Johan Hearth through to the feature. Now, the critical thing here, actually, Randy, is we haven't spoken about it because it only happened during the week, but Garrett Lowe recently visited the Lone Bro Racing race shop during the week. He got to meet Steve Arpin, who we spoke to at Lucas Oil earlier this season, and it's, again, nice to see the real world merge with the virtual world.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's also as well, it's good to see this Ford Fiesta running well in this series. Garrett Lowe being the only one opting for this car, bulk of the field in the Subarus, and then you have about a half dozen or so Volkswagens. So it's always nice to see that Garrett, especially with the support he's getting from Lowenbro and Arpin and that entire group, for him to be able to come in and consistently make these feature events and put in the sort of performances he can, and he'll come off that final corner and he'll find himself in the main event.
Garrett Lowe, well done. That's going to be a quick Fiesta in the feature. Johan Hearth, bit of sweat for sure on the Frenchman's forehead. He'll make it through to the feature as well. We say goodbye to Sant Jr., Guest, Perez, Gesmeyer, Parisi, Chepelevsky, and Nathan Lyon, who had his first podium of the season last week. Here are the results on screen. And now we head through to the second consolation race. That includes Josh Fox, Randy, second in the championship. Now today, I did my notes about 24 hours ago, right? I can't remember, about 12 hours ago, around that mark. And I said, will Josh Fox win this championship without a race win? Has that ever happened in motor racing? And then an hour later, Randy, I hear about Matt Crafton.
Yeah, we came very close to it actually this year in our World of Outlaws Morton Buildings late model championship series. We had a driver go all 9 weeks without a win, and he ended up second, and he led the bulk of the championship. He was just that consistent. But this is going to be an exciting P-Main, definitely for sure. Hallman, Fox, big names. And Phil Diaz, even though he's not one of the big names, Johnny, I think that NX car is hooked up today and is looking quick.
Yeah, he's one of the most underrated drivers in Rallycross, Phil Diaz. So he'll be starting on the outside here. The deadly outside. Kevin Carlisle's due a good result for the ART Subaru Winter Experience team. And if Clampett can avoid trouble, he has oh so much potential. 10 cars in the final consolation race. And we go green for the final time at Sonoma. And a drag race to turn one yet again. How in the world did Diaz pull that up and under off? It looks like Kevin Carlisle's in second here, but Holman will lead through the jump through the final corner.
Josh Fox got forced out wide. They were 4 wide through turn 1 and then 4 wide through turn 2. And Josh Fox lost out on both occasions. He was forced nearly wide off the racetrack and nearly down the S's. And he's going to cycle into being the last running car currently on the racetrack. So can Josh Fox, second in the points, can he pull off a Johan Hart-esque miracle and somehow transfer? He's already got one spot.
Yeah, that was a slowdown penalty for Marcos Matamoros, and he's going to pick off 7 more cars, and there's carnage in front of him. He's picked off 2 more. This is critical for Josh Fox.
Josh Fox, 4 cars, I believe, on that lap. We're going to have to see where he cycles through and what the delta is. The problem for him, though, is the 2 transfer spots are currently held by a couple of quickest driver in the series, Tommy Hallman and Kevin Carlisle, first and second. They are not likely and not prone to making mistakes that maybe some of these guys in the mid-pack are. So Josh Fox up to 7th spot after that opening lap, after dropping all the way down to 10th from the second starting position. He has work to do to find 5 more spots, 7 seconds out, and then an NX car is around, another car falls, which will be another freebie for Fox.
And Fox. So it looked like they collided. Diaz and Fox collided. That's Fox's championship there. Going down the gutter. Here we ride on board with the Williams Esports driver. Randy, let's see what happened.
Please no, Phil. Phil. Oh, no, that rejoin was absolutely horrible by Phil Diaz. So unfortunate there for Josh Fox, but That's going to be, I don't think there's any way he's going to transfer after that, of course. He's 22 seconds back off the race leader. Your top two still close within a second of one another, but that's disaster for currently second place in the points, as P2 and P3 also fighting.
Yeah, and excuse me, it was Matt Adams who had the slowdown on the opening lap, not Matamoros, but nevertheless, I'm not sure that will matter much, but that could be the end of Josh Fox's...
in that sentence.
Well, yeah, well, that could end Josh Fox's championship challenge. This could be the final race we really see him in contention for it. He's going to need a miracle to win it from here. He's going to need everything to go his way. But to miss the feature, he's going to miss out on the most points on offer. But for Holman and Carlisle, I'll tell you what, they are driving quite well. Clampett, I think, is a little bit too far behind. I want to check the top of the screen, Randy, because I don't know if Clampett's taken to the Joker yet.
I don't think.
Let's have a look.
Let's see. Taking
He
a
hasn't.
look.
No.
So yeah, Logan's actually in a very good spot here. So Kevin Carlisle needs to be a little bit stressed. But that said, right now Logan's about 3.5 seconds back, and that's about the long end of the Joker here at Sonoma. So it's going to be really tight between these two. And Logan makes a bit of a mistake up the carousel, and he's going to make contact with Fenalosa. Fenalosa's around. Logan hangs on to it, but he's definitely lost time as Hallman has that race lead. I think Logan's lost it.
Yeah, this is the final lap, and they could have taken to the Joker and possibly squeezed themselves into the feature, but game over. Fenalosa didn't even... Oh, he took to the Joker that last lap, excuse me, and he was trying to make that move on Clampett. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Holman and Carlisle through to the feature. Brilliant for Kevin Carlisle's 2019 campaign. It didn't start off too well, but another set esports car through. That's 3 set esports car, Randy, into that feature race.
Yeah, so they're definitely out here in strength here today. They're performing really, really well. As you see the finishing order there from the LCQ, and Hallman and Carlisle, they'll have another 10 laps to do action here in just a couple of moments. Everyone else will be on their way home, but you have to wonder, Johnny, we've seen the cars middle of the grid on that front row have problems all day, and that's exactly where championship points leader Sammy Matty Trogan will be. We saw him last week out. He made the feature, but he finished 10th, and that's how so many of his championship rivals, the likes of Fox, DeYoung, and Hart, made huge, huge gains on him. I think if Sammy has another bad start here and maybe shuffles down the order again, I think it's quite likely that could possibly happen, and you might see some of these guys make up big points. But that said, a lot of his championship rivals are starting mid-pack. You see Mitchell DeYoung going to be rolling P6. Johan Hart is going to be rolling 9th on the grid. So these guys have a lot of work to do to reel in that number 22 set esports machine.
And the last time Heikkinen won a rallycross race in this World Championship was Sonoma round 8 last year. So it's been ever so long, Randy, and you'll be hoping to do it again this from here for round number 7.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, Yoni was nearly as good as Mitchell last year. They were both, I think they were on relatively equal levels. Yoni was just, when they'd have a close fight, Yoni would just be that little bit back. It's not like Yoni is lights and stars behind Mitchell or anything. Yoni's definitely a top-tier rallycross driver in this championship. He is really, really good. He's just not had the sort of year that I think you would expect from him, unfortunately. A lot of bad luck on his side, and he has in a couple events seemed to just sort of lack the pace. But here, finally maybe able to put it all together, and pole position has been the safest place to be, it seemed like, through the heats and those last chance qualifiers. Will it pay off for him here, or we have seen the pole sitters get some drama as well? Johan in his heat comes to mind actually just today.
So Heikkinen will start from pole here, and like we said, he hasn't won a feature race for 2019. He hasn't won a race since Sonoma last year. He'll be joined by championship leader and teammate Sami Matti Trogan. The other Finn of Otto Taskinen will be joined on the outside of that front row. Rookie John Robertson will start on the second row alongside the 2 VRS Commander SimSport cars of Bobby Zelensky and Mitchell DeYoung, our 2018 champion. Now, Mitchell DeYoung, of course, has won 3 races this season. He's never won a race at Sonoma. Will that change here today? The rest of the grid will be occupied by Garrett Lowe, Tommy Horman, of course, who makes amends for starting down the order in feature races. We know what he can do. Just look back to Atlanta in round 1. Johan Harth just manages to squeeze his way along with teammate Kevin Carlisle. Those two ART cars will start down the rear of the order and will be gunning to be picking off as many cars here into the first corner. Lights illuminate for the final time from Sonoma. We go green for 10 laps of action in the feature race. Brilliant getaway by the two set esports cars, but it looks like Heikkinen manages to squeeze his way into the advantage, and one car into the wall there.
That was John Robertson. He gets forced to the inside and basically T-bones that wall. That's going to be his day done. That motor is popped, but Set Esports 1-2. Settling into third is going to be Bobby Zielinski for Coanda. Otto Taskin in fourth, and Mitchell will round out your top five. Car wide in the carousel. It's a Set Esports car. Holman.
Very wide. Yep, that's Holman, very wide. Holman rejoins down the rear end of the field here. And it looked like Harth actually clipped a bollard there as we see cones flying here as they rejoin the right way around Sonoma. Now, you can't take to the Joker on the first lap, but you can take it here on the first lap. What I mean is you can't take it before you cross that start-finish line. There is Heikkinen opting for the Joker. Sammy Matty Trogan doesn't, Randy, and somehow finds some clear track. He got away with that.
One car that did Joker, though, cycles out in front of Mitchell de Jong. That was Johan Hart, who's cycled in front of Mitchell. Mitchell has his hands full with the Ford Fiesta of Garrett Lowe and Kevin Carlisle. And we know this Fiesta can be quick in feature race conditions here, Johnny. And he's all over the back of the winningest driver in this series, not only over the history of it, but this year. And I think he tagged the back of Mitchell, who was all sorts of sideways. And I think that's Johan cycling in front of him.
Yeah, no, Kevin Carlisle. Carlisle instead, the other ART car. But de Jong opts for the Joker now, and he wants to get out of that battle. He's had enough, our 2018 champion. And the VRS Coanda SimSport driver now rejoins behind what looks like Otto Taskinen in the positive sim racing car. Taskinen with a mistake, and that allows de Jong through.
Yep, a little bit of contact behind Johan. That was Johan that time. Saw the open door. He went through it. Tommy Hallman, he got through Taskinen as well. So that's a costly mistake from Taskinen. And at the head of the field, it's still Joni Heikkinen who's taken to the shortcut. Sammy Matty Trogan, I think, still owes us a Joker here. So this gap, and actually, no, he's not. Sorry about that. Paul's just confusing me as Bobby Zielinski will take to the Joker and come here in second. But Sammy Matty Trogan doing very well here, Johnny, reeling in his teammate of Heikkinen, and he still has that Joker in his back pocket. About 3 seconds at the moment, and that's right about what we see for the shortcut here.
And Zelensky has many podiums in his feature race history in this championship as we ride on board with the Set Esports car. But let's see if Zelensky can do the same here today at Sonoma. Let's listen to Sammy Matty Trogan through the final corners. Opts for the Joker, Randy, this time round.
Oh, and another championship contender. Johan Hart to the round at what is the second to final corner. We got another car off in the grass as well. Kevin Carlisle.
Oh, the two ART cars. Carlisle's car looks done. I think there's a lot of suspension damage. There's Harth behind de Jong. Oh, that just looks like Holman barging his way past. Tommy Holman just shoved Harth out of the way. And Johan Harth, well, his championship isn't going to end here, but it's going to take a turn for the worst. He needs every good result to go his way, and it looks like it's not going to happen here today from Sonoma. Neither the same for Kevin Carlisle, the rookie.
And something has happened. Sammy Matty Trogan, he's taken the Joker, and this fight for the race lead is now nose to tail between Heikkinen and Trogan. You see the graphic up on your screen. 0.3 of a second, the gap between the two of them at the moment. Zelensky about a second and some change further back. So Sammy took to that Joker lap, getting clear of the traffic of Bobby Zelensky, and cycles in just behind. But Johnny, you mentioned it, 3 Set Esports cars in this feature event. There were also 3 ART cars, and all 3 of them have had big contact, and they currently run 8th, 9th, and 10th is John Robertson, who's out of the race.
Well, they're not going to be happy with that when you speak to the ART boys. They really put in a lot of work into this series, and they do really feel they've been hard done by. So let's see what happens after this round, whether the stewards deem anybody was at fault for those incidents, any penalties to come, because John Robertson did have to sit out qualifying, I remember, at Iowa. So I'm sure he'll be arguing his case for sure in the next week. But nevertheless, we focus on this battle for the lead, for the win here. Now, Häkkinen, like we said, Randy, has not won a feature race in over 12 months. And the last time he won one was at Sonoma.
Mitchell de Jong spun around Otto Taskinen. Otto Taskinen off the nose of Mitchell, coming up the hill to exit the gravel section.
And so contact between those two behind. Here's the replay on screen. Like I said, Häkkinen hasn't won a race since Sonoma last year for round 8. This is Taskinen and de Jong. Oh, it just looked like a clumsy incident at the end of the day.
Yep, certainly was. But you're right, Häkkinen, it's been a while since he's found victory lane, but he's in a very good spot at the moment. We know how good Sami Matti Trogan has been this year, and I'll be honest, Sammy looks like the quicker car right now, Johnny, but Joni is not making many mistakes. He hasn't opened the door for Trogan at all this far this event. They'll come across the seat 2 to go this next time by, up and over the jump and in towards the carousel, and Sammy takes a look up the inside to enter the carousel, but surely he won't send it, not nearly close enough, and indeed he doesn't. But up the hill they're going to go, and I think Häkkinen's looking really strong here with a lap and a half to go.
You won't see team orders as we ride on board with Trogan, because Häkkinen still needs a win to his name for 2019. He still is in contention for the championship, but his teammate here, who leads the championship that we ride on board with, needs every point he can squeeze out of this round, but he's going to extend his championship lead nevertheless, surprisingly, Randy. Although finishing in second, because all the rest of his contenders of Fox and de Jong haven't fared so well.
Yeah, he is definitely going to stretch that lead out. Mitchell de Jong will definitely be doing the best damage control here where he currently sits in that 4th spot. We'll see if anyone jokers behind him. No, so he'll hold on to that spot for now. But your race leaders up the carousel. Joni Häkkinen's opened a couple car lengths over his teammate this time. So it's going to have to be a big mistake from Joni if Trogan has any hope in the world, and I don't think it's going to happen.
Only a couple more corners for the Finn. Like I said, it's been over 12 months since we've announced Joni Häkkinen was a winner here for a feature race in the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. But for round 7, Joni Häkkinen wins from Sonoma, and he'll take home a good strong haul of points here for his championship challenge. He'll be joined by championship leader and teammate Sami Matti Trogan on the podium. Zelensky in 3rd rounds out the top 3. Randy, brilliant event for Zelensky. de Jong ends up in 4th at the end of the day, but we have a Noah's Ark finish there. 2 Set Esports cars, 2 Coanda SimSport cars.
Yeah, Set 1, 2, Coanda 3 and 4, and I think the surprising thing here, Johnny, is that that was the first event we've seen all day where the front row cars survived as well as they did. Häkkinen, the pole sitter, Sammy P2 on the grid. They finished 1 and 2 in the order they started. We saw those front row cars have dramas all day. They got lucky in that respect. It was Otto Taskinen who got into the drama, who started 3rd, and he'll currently come home in the 7th spot as he works up and over the jump on his cooldown lap. But finishing order on screen, and Häkkinen, I think, is going to be a little bit more than a happy camper.
And brilliant result for the Lone Bro Motorsports car there of Garrett Lowe in the Fiesta, the lone non-Subaru here in the feature race. Now for Robertson, for anybody wondering, as we see celebratory burnouts there from the Set Esports cars, but for Robertson, Randy, he won't score the 40 points, or 43 points you receive for P10 in the feature, because to qualify for those points, you actually need to complete the first lap.
Yep, so it's as if he never started the race. So John Robertson, you see it there on the graphic, plus 10 laps. We saw that happen a little bit earlier this year. I can't remember who it was and at what track, but I know it happened this season, and it was the same thing. They basically just, because they never completed a lap, it's as if they never started the race, and because of that, they only got the points from their heat and from the qualifying if they received any. So for John Robertson, if he had any hopes and dreams of maybe pulling this out and getting it way up the running order in the championship, I don't think he had a hope of winning the championship, but maybe getting into the top 5 or into the top couple spots, I think that's pretty much going to kill it for him.
And of course, Robertson, through no fault of his own, I mean, he just couldn't get that car moving. The engine was pretty much blown, so he couldn't make it to the line. And I remember the race, Randy. It was this one at Sonoma, and it was Joni Häkkinen, our winner, the last time we came here. He had, remember the incident after the jump, and he couldn't make it through to the line because that car was, very funnily enough, beached onto, I'm not sure what it was, a concrete bollard?
Yeah, I think you're right, but regardless, Joni's going to be very, very, very excited here as we're waiting for our post-race interviews, and And Bobby Zelensky, though, he's had a slow start to the season, Johnny, but that 83 car, is that 2 or 3 podiums in a row now?
I've got to check. You're putting me under pressure now. God, I've got to check.
Yeah, we're not good under pressure, let's be real.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, Microsoft Excel is not good under pressure. No, it's only 1 podium this season for Zelensky.
No, right, but this will be his second, right? Because we interviewed him.
This will be second, sorry. I thought you meant 3 in a row. My fault.
Yeah, right. Yeah. This should be a second in a row. I knew it was either 2 or 3. I couldn't remember.
Yeah, exactly. So there is a Zelensky. Now, we scored a lot of podiums back in 2018, of course, too, for Zelensky. But we'll see how he fares for the rest of this season. He's still in contention for the championship. Now, we will speak to Joni Heikkinen in just a moment's time. He just needs to sort out a few things behind the scenes there. But Randy, for him, of course, brilliant to see him back on victory lane.
Yeah, I'm super happy to see Joni Heikkinen back up here. He's not had the sort of championship that I think we would have expected from him. He's been definitely good and he's shown pace. He's just not had the sort of speed we typically saw from him last season, as he's troubleshooting something on his end. But Sammy Matty Trogan as well, great event. And Garrett Lowe as well. I mean, he did really well in that, Johnny, get his way up towards P5. Those Lowenbro guys, they're really showing what that Fiesta can do when they get to race trim. When they make it to the feature, they tend to do well.
Certainly do. They've got quick pace, but another driver who had quick pace was Joni Heikkinen. And Joni, welcome back to P number 1. It's been over 12 months, mate. And the last time you did it was Sonoma, and you did it again here at the same racetrack. How does it feel to be back with your first feature race win of 2019?
Yeah, finally. Yeah, it feels good. This has been extremely challenging season for me, so it feels good.
And for you, this is important for your championship, because if your teammate, Sammy Matty Trogan, has 1 DNF to his name in a feature, just like you suffered here at Sonoma, remember, for round 3, you could see yourself winning a championship, of course.
Yeah, but if I am second and Sammy Matty win, it's good too. So my main... I just try to take 1 and 2 to team.
And to be honest with you, I think my emotions even came out too as well. I don't think I'm too passionate. It's been a while since I've seen you in P1, and what's the difference in 2019? Is it the level of competition that's increased? Has it been tougher for you?
Well, Subaru is. I just start to drive it about 1 week before first race, so and I hadn't have time to practice that much I want, so it's still challenging car to me, but it starts to feel better and better every time.
And finally, who gets it done for you? We actually did speak to Jussi Pennanen. You probably know, of course. We spoke to him pre-race, so he'll be very excited to see a 1-2 for the team. But who'd you like to thank? Of course, Jussi and the rest of the team for sure.
Yeah, big thanks to Jussi and everybody in teams and all my sponsors.
Lovely. So there is Joni Heikkinen, who came home in the first position, his first win in over 12 months, Randy. But his teammate and championship challenger, Sammy Matty Trogan, is stood alongside you.
Yep, that he is. I saw some people in the chat hoping for a Finland 1-2-3. We got 2 of the 3, that's for sure. And Sammy Matty Trogan comes into this race as a points leader, and with a strong second-place finish, is going to extend that lead, especially with a lot of his championship contenders not having great runs here today. But Sammy, that was a fun battle to watch, those closing laps that you had with Joni. It seemed like you were a little bit quicker than Joni looked at a couple points of the racetrack. If that wasn't your teammate out in front of you, would you have slotted it up the inside somewhere a bit aggressively?
Yeah, maybe, but didn't have so many places to overtake, so yeah. Didn't want to take any risk because I have good position in the championship.
And talking about the championship, how are you feeling going in? We haven't done the exact calculations. We don't know what the exact margin will be. But, of course, coming into this event, you had yourself, I mean, it was 60 points, 59 points you had over Josh Fox. Josh doesn't even make the feature event. Mitchell comes home in 4th. He was 3rd in the championships coming in. Johan Hart, him and all the other Apex drivers finished down at the bottom of the running order. The only person who was behind you in the points coming into this that beat you was, of course, Joni. And You had a 100-point margin over him. Surely this is going to put you in a dominant point moving into the last 2 rounds of the championship. How are you feeling on what are likely very high chances that you come home and winning this championship here?
Yeah, I'm trying to get good consistent last 2 races. I need to get a feeder race in both. So yeah, and then we try to get 1-2 for the championship, of course.
And then the last couple rounds we have coming up, we go to the Daytona long layout. It's going to be our second repeat of the season, and then we have Atlanta short to close out this championship. How do you feel about those couple layouts? Because they're both very different from the Atlanta and Daytona we saw to kick off the season.
Yeah, I maybe need to try a bit more Daytona. Atlanta, I know I am faster because I won also. It is short version, but still it's good that track for me. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Well, congratulations to you, Sammy, on a second place finish. Before we let you go, we heard it from Joni, but who gets it done for said esports?
Yeah, thanks to my teammate for the works, and big thanks to my sponsors.
There it was, Mr. Sammy Matty Trogan comes away in the second spot here tonight and going to be definitely extending his championship lead and probably becoming the clear championship favorite here at Sonoma the way things went down. Final interview of the day, he came home third for his second podium in a row. Mr. Bobby Zielinski is stood by Johnny Simone.
And of course, that's Bobby's 4th podium of his career. But Bobby, I'm sure you want a race win to your name now. You're probably hungry for them.
Yeah, I mean, we can for sure do it. I think today we showed a lot of pace. Struggled a little bit in the beginning of that main, just finding the line. But yeah, we'd love a win, but you got to be a little better than we were today, qualifying and everything. I didn't qualify very well at all. Made it through in the heat, but still, starting, 5th or 6th? Yeah, it was 5th, starting in the main. So got to be a little faster than that in the fresher track, I think, to get wins. But with how this series is, you can position yourself with wins being 3rd or 4th. You never know what can happen. So,
yeah, I was going to say when you look back at qualifying, I mean, I'm not sure were you in the top 10 even. I think you were just on the brink of just outside the top 10. So maybe for you, if you do get a better grid position for the for these feature races, we could see you taking your first win in these final 2 rounds.
Yeah, we're gonna for sure try for it. I mean, I definitely want to get it done. Coming into this season, I thought I could be a contender, being with Coanda, teaming up with Mitchell and everything. But I think my qualifying woes are really mainly to do with Sonoma. And it's kind of the same for Mitchell. Both of us just haven't had the best success here qualifying. And I really don't know why yet. But we'll, figure it out for the next year. But yeah, we'll get better. I think the next 2 tracks I'll be fine with qualifying. But for sure happy to get a couple podiums in a row, get things rolling here finally.
And not that you're thinking about it too much, but I just saw Matt Crafton win a championship in the past 24 hours without a race win to his name. If things go your way, we know, if Sammy Matty Trogan has one or misses one feature race in these final 2 rounds, you could easily find yourself winning this championship.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. That's why you just got to keep, preparing every week and going out there and giving it your best. Yeah, Sammy is just the only one to not miss a feature. And he's also having a really good year and really fast. So you never know what can happen. Yeah, we definitely need him to, miss a feature to be able to, have a shot at it. But we're just going to give it, like I said, we're going to give it our best every week. Try to get a win, but just, do these Coanda colors proud.
And finally, who gets it done for you? You mentioned those Coanda colors. Surely a big team behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. So many guys help, wearing the track and hosteds and helping us prepare. Mitchell's been a huge help to me personally. Just every time I'm struggling with a certain corner or whatever, he really helps me a lot and helps me figure it out and really helped me this season get to that next tier of speed. Got to thank our sponsors, Virtual Racing School mainly, supports me and Peak as well. And I do too many world championships to name at this point.
Yeah.
And it's a great to be a part of this team. I came here for NASCAR, but to be a part of, Porsche and it was GT. She don't have GT anymore. And now Rally, it's I'm just thankful to be here.
So there's Bobby Zelensky, who came home in third. Brandy, I feel like if he wins a world championship now in one of the 77 different world championships he runs, his next job is to probably win a world championship in a different esport.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's going to have to either boot up some Counter-Strike and try to win himself a major, or, try to get to the Invitational for Dota, maybe, in the League World
12 hours a day?
Yeah, just different games all the time. Bobby Zelensky is going to be the most the most diverse esports competitor since Fatality. But we got some points updates for you guys. Sammy Matty Trogan, 87 points clear of Mitchell DeYoung, who cycled into the second spot in points here officially. That's more than a full race that Mitchell has to try to reel in 2 rounds' time. So it's actually very likely, Johnny, going into next week, that Sammy Matty Trogan, if he puts in a good enough effort and if Mitchell doesn't reel in at least a 3-point margin, Sammy could potentially win the championship next week outright. And on top of that, today, in terms of Mitchell turning up for races this season, Johnny, we know there's a couple rounds he missed. This is the first race for Mitchell where in the feature he finished worse than second spot. Every other event that he's been in, he's either won or finished second in the feature event. So a bit of a heartbreak, I think, there for Mitchell coming home fourth.
It's a bogus track for it, isn't it, Sonoma? We visited here 4 times, and, well, he has actually only visited here 3 times, don't forget. He did miss the earlier round this season, and he's never won a race from Sonoma. Now, you said Sammy Matty Trogan can wrap up that championship next week. He could also allow 7 drivers a chance to win that championship next week. So depending on how his event will fare, it will define that final round from Atlanta in a couple of weeks' time. But that next round will be on the 23rd of November. That's in a week's time until we head back to Daytona for the second time this season. We will run the long layout, though, this time round for number 8. The penultimate round of the 2019 Thrustmaster iRacing Rallycross World Championship. Coverage, of course, will begin at 5:45 p.m. GMT. It'll be on your beloved, illustrious, beautiful, handsome RaceBot TV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network. Visit racebot.tv and iRacing.com for more information on upcoming events. Of course, from myself, Jonathan Simon, Randolph Cheneth alongside me, we had special guest Jussi Pennanen for interviews earlier on, Paul Smith, our producer, and our entire RaceBot TV crew behind the scenes. We hope you enjoyed this RaceBot TV presentation broadcasted on our associated platforms. Our winner today, Joni Heikkinen, for the first time in 2019. And we say so long from California's Sonoma.